Hello everyone, my name is Biubwa. For those that are new, for those that are returning subscribers, thank you so much for staying here regardless of me being dormant for over a year now, I think. I'm so grateful to have you here. I'm so excited for what, um, 2022 has to offer. It has started off on a difficult foot, but we keep going. And yeah, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to 2022. It has started off in a difficult way. I mean, many things are happening that shouldn't be happening, but I think one of the things that I'm excited about is the fact that it looks pretty much like a year. Even if things happen that are beyond our control, we have more than enough resources to look for solutions for everything, and we also have each other. It's been a while since I was online. For those who know, or those who are close to me know, the reason I couldn't be online is because I don't have a good phone to record videos all the time, and so it became so difficult to be able to do that, because first the memory is compromised. Like, it's a lot of things, but I promise to put in more commitment this year so that I can be able to do much more. Again, if you're new here, for those who do not know, my channel is purely to speak about LGBTQ community, some fun here and there, feminism, activism, but the whole 9 yard. It could be bringing guests to speak about different things. It could just generally and overall just hanging out and having a good time. And so I'm excited for what 2022 has in store. I wouldn't sit here and say there's a lot of things lined up that are exciting. Nope. But I will sit here and say confidently that 2022 is a year I've planned to, curate a lot of content for you guys. If you don't follow me on my social media sites, Facebook, Biubwa Maryliz, Instagram, Maryliz_Biubwa, Twitter at queerly_so. On there you can be able to get daily updates of everything that is happening. And on here you can be able to get a longer version of everything. The last time I was here, my channel was still Maryliz Biubwa. Now my channel is Biubwa UnCut. The reason it's Biubwa UnCut is because I feel like on Instagram, on Twitter, you get pieces of me, some edited, some, like, it's all over the place. But here on YouTube, now that it's longer videos, more content and all that, I decided to make it a channel where we get the uncut version of things. That if we are doing, the only time it becomes a bit cut is if it's short videos put together. But if it's a sitting recorded video, then it's literally uncut content, so that you can be able, one, to know more about me, two, to be able to interact much better with the content that is there, to be able to, to be able to see pretty much a lot more of what it is like to just be able to get content raw as it is and all that. And so that's what I'm excited for about in 2022, that we are taking a complete, probably new turn in regards to what I am doing. And so welcome for the journey, and I'm excited. I'm recording this video a day after we did a protest. I'm not necessarily in the best headspaces, but also I figured one of the ways to get yourself back to spaces that you consider the best for yourself is to do things that you love. And for those who know, content creation, being on YouTube, being on social media, is something that I love doing. And so I said, why not? There's a pending video that I've been hoping to do. I put questions on Instagram. If you don't follow me on Instagram, again, Maryliz_Biubwa, please go follow. I had put some questions some time back. I remember that day I was making chili, and then an idea just popped up to put some questions up, to put a poll up so that people can be able to ask questions. And in that, it was like pretty much just particularly spicy questions, and those are the what I'm gonna answer, as I also sneak in some of the updates that are there while I've been away for over a year. So buckle up and let's have some fun. Like I said, I asked questions on Instagram, and I asked people to ask me questions on Instagram, and people gave their questions, and so I'm gonna try to respond to those. The first question I got was, getting some good head, but I don't want a relationship. So how do I explain myself? I'll not mention the people because these were spicy questions. I have not asked for consent to mention their names, so for that I'll protect their identities. But I will say, if your intention is just to have sex, to have fun with this person without the idea of committing to a relationship, then I think the best person to have that conversation with is the person you're having sex with. It's very, very important because we are in 2022 currently. There are many forms in which people foster relationships, and it's important to understand that you're valid for wanting what you want. Just because you want to have sex and you're having fun while doing that doesn't mean you should now get into a committed relationship. You have every right to not want to be in a relationship, and the person you are having sex with has every right to also know that all you want is just sex and fun. When it comes to relationship, they should know not to expect that, so that when you can from the word go communicate about that, if things change, you can also be confident enough to communicate about the changes. You can be confident enough to communicate about the changes, and then you all can see how that will take you. It's also one of the ways to build healthy relationships. So talk about it. What's the worst that can happen? The worst would be maybe she says she or he doesn't want, to continue with that. Or if you're not up for a relationship, then they're not ready to be with you anymore. So then when they say that, sorry, you'll have to miss on good head. But also, I think the other perspective to look at it is that if that person gives good head, it means you can get good head from other people. There's 7 billion of us in the world. That's what I'm trying to say. You can easily find someone who matches your interests, so that you don't have to be with someone who at the end of the day they'll end up hurt because you're pursuing your interest. That's probably all I can say. Anyone who has advice for them on the comment section, please feel free to leave it. Everything that we'll talk about here, really, feel free to leave comments down here. And then the second one, this one I will mention the names because they're my friends. Sunflower Bandit says, my nose is so hot, your chilies can't me. And I'm like, yeah, I'm sure my chili can you, because you don't eat that much chili. So now what are you going to talk about? But yeah, this is a good friend of mine. And then the other one was, this one said, no spicy question, cause I'm boring like that, but I really like you. Thank you so much. This is also not, I wouldn't say a personal close friend of mine, but he is a good friend of mine on social media. He's always that person who is always there following my content, you know always pushing me, always supporting me, always being there to celebrate the wins that I have. He's literally always there, and that's really amazing to have people who are always just there. They might not have met you, but they just vibe with you like that. So he passes the vibe check, and he's an awesome person. And thank you so much for saying that. And then this is a beautiful soulmate of mine. And they asked, started with a laughing emoji anyway. Craziest sexcapade, give deets, deep dates. How will I answer this question? I don't mind giving details about my sex life. I just mind giving details about my sex life on a public platform. I'm that kind of person who always, like, my thinking about sex is that if I had sex, it means I didn't have it alone. I had it with another person. So the reason I'm not okay with giving personal details about it is because essentially I'll also be telling these personal details about another person. And so, because this is a soulmate of mine, and I know, I mean, the universe is definitely aligning itself, and I will see you soon. I'll tell you about the dates when I see you. Please. In fact, maybe I should actually make this as a way to make sure I see you soon. Please find me when we finally can, because you know I am saying please find me. When we finally can, please find me. Let's meet, let's hang out, and then you ask me this and any other deep details you want about anything. But when it comes, and this is personal, I also understand we have people who, are okay with speaking about their sexual lives all the time. But personally, I'm the kind of person who, if I have to speak about my sex life, it's either with my closest friends or with the person I'm having sex with. It's as simple as that. When it comes to, you know, other people, unless I'm explaining things to do with trauma, for example, or abuse, or, you know, like, because also in sex is where abuse happens and all that. I mean, sexual abuse is a thing that happens, and so when I'm speaking about sexual abuse, I wouldn't care to either hide who I'm speaking about or that. But when it's about intimacy, when it's about love, when it's about whatever it is that you're having when you're having with this person, I am keen to not share it on social media, because then even if you share it with good intention, if the other person was not okay with sharing that information, then they will look at it and nobody will know it's them but them. They will feel like, you know, there's that sense of, I don't know, it's my way of probably holding the intimate parts that I share with people, holding them between myself and those people. So yeah, I'll leave that at that. Another one asks, most embarrassing moment. Most embarrassing moment. Most embarrassing moment. As a grown-up, I don't get embarrassed. When I was younger, I think, and I wouldn't call it embarrassing, when I was still in primary school, there was this girl who we were classmates, not classmates per se. We were classmates. We were not in the same stream, but we were in the same class. So, and there was this thing that was happening, that the guys that I used to hang out with, it was in primary school, that I used to hang out with were guys that performed really well, and we would hang out together. If we had group discussions, we would do those together. If we wanted to do study groups, we'd do together. And I think she liked one of the guys, and so, you know, when you're hanging out with guys like that, there's an assumption that, I don't know if it's a general assumption, but her assumption was that I was cock blocking her or something like that, and so she had this weird hate for me. But I said to that, I don't think I consider it embarrassing, because then she would now try to cross my path. She would be very malicious towards me. She would be very negative towards me, and it was really frustrating. But I settled that when I finished my first paper of KCPE rather, because I beat her up. I don't beat people up. I don't know how to fight. That's the most weirdest thing, but I guess the rage of her frustrating me. Plus, I feel like we need to talk about how bullying affects people, because I feel like the rage that came out of me that day was because I was pissed, and it was accumulated anger because of how she would treat me, because she thought I was her enemy. Meanwhile, like, these were just guys. I mean, it was a form of discrimination essentially, but when it came to group discussions and all that kind of stuff, you'll find, even if you're not putting those group discussions by yourself, the teacher who would put you in a group discussion had a way of isolating students who performed versus students who didn't perform. And so, and I don't know if that didn't sit well with her or whatever, but yeah, that's the one. Is it the only time I've ever fought? Well, the other times I've tried to fight, I've been beaten, so there's that part too. I don't consider that embarrassing either, because I was ready to fight, but that one time I fought. So yeah, I don't consider it embarrassing, but if I could go back in time, maybe I would resolve it better. But then also, if I could go back in time, I would still be young, and I would still have the same emotions I had when she was treating me badly. So maybe I would do the same thing, who knows? And that's why maybe looking back, I'm like, embarrassed that my younger self and my inability to look at something and be like, you know, a negative person is because they have much more they're dealing with than the person they're trying to attack. So leave it at that. Another one asked, uko na mtu? No, I'm not dating. I'm single. I'm just living life. I wouldn't say I'm searching. I'm just the kind of person. I'm at a space as an individual where I'm like, if I meet someone I liked today, if I started vibing with someone and it ended up becoming a relationship, no worries. But I'm also not in a hurry, because the last time I was in a relationship was in 2021 in August is when it ended. And I tried recently to start one, but it didn't work. And so I'm at a place where I'm like, yeah, I'm just vibing with myself. I'm kind of really good at that, vibing with myself. And yeah, I'm open to a relationship, but I'm also not in a hurry. It's not like I'm looking particularly. I'm just here, you know. If it is to happen, it happens. But the only relationship I'm in is one with myself. And yeah, but in terms of dating other people right now, no, I'm not actively going on dates. I'm not actively in a relationship with anyone. I'm not, yeah, all the 9 yard about other people. I am not in anything like that currently. Tell us about a fantasy you've never told anyone. My fantasies are weird, unless you mean sexual fantasies. Then again, I don't speak about if you want to ask me questions like that, and this is another person who can see me anytime and they can ask me in person. So I'm challenging you, look for me, find me soon and ask me, and I'll be happy to answer. But when it comes to general fantasies, I feel like it's not a fantasy, it's a hope that when I eventually become rich, not necessarily famous, just rich and wealthy, all I want to venture into real estate, but not to venture into real estate so that I can make money. For me, I want to venture into real estate because of the number of cases I interact with when it comes to LGBTQ people being homeless. I think the numbers I interact with are a lot. LGBTQ people trying to run for safety when their families and friends and schools they're in and institutions they're in learn that they're queer. They try to look for safety. So I'll venture into real estate. So I'll venture into real estate essentially so that I can be able to develop establishments, buildings, flats and all that, so that when things like that happen, I can be able to, like, we can be able to say, you know, like, sort of create a queer community, but within just regular community. Like if it's buy pieces of land, but to develop buildings, but these buildings will be particularly only queer people. So even if it's rental, the rents will be very low, so that to give an opportunity to get like maybe money back for maintaining the areas, but also to allow queer people to be able to save a bit more. The goal would then be, if they're paying little to no rent at all, they can be able to stay there for a period of time while maybe they're working, while maybe they're footing and grounding themselves back after maybe the instability of being driven away from home, disowned, losing a job or things like that. And then when they're finally stable and they can be able to move, then there's gonna be some sort of rotational kind of thing where now they can be able to move because now they are stable enough and they're doing okay on their own, and then the same place can be able to take in more people, and probably even if I die, leave that legacy, because like just leave a place where queer people can be able to come in and out and know if I don't have a home, there's a home there. Like even create a community kind of setting where even if the place maybe might be full, you still have the opportunity of one person lives in this house, they can be able to share with a new person. That way as many people as possible can be accommodated there. That is both a fantasy, a dream, a vision I have, a goal. Like whichever happens first, if I'm capable today, if I'm financially able to do that, that's the one thing I will do in a hurry, in so much hurry. What is the ultimate role play for you? I like role play. I mean, it involves dressing up and being cocky and naughty and all that kind of stuff, and I feel like it's a cool thing. But there's always a but in how I answer questions. But I feel like the best role to play in life is to be yourself. I'm saying this because I feel like with relationships, one of the ways in which I feel like with relationships I'm in, I strain myself so much is, you know, being vulnerable with who I am, being who I am 100%, sharing my struggle, sharing the parts of me that maybe like averagely many people will be like, I don't want to bring that because it's like just bearing myself open to people that I'm with. But I think one of the other things now that I struggle with the most is the fact that that happens, but many people have walls up high, and I totally understand. I mean, we all have traumas, we all have gone through things, we all are going through journeys of learning to even just comprehend the things we've gone through, and then to just learn to speak about them. But I feel like for me, I struggle mostly because it's not easy for me to speak about those things. It's not easy for me to bear myself open. But I learned the best way I can foster relationships if I can be able to be open about who I am. That way it becomes easy for people to learn how to love me. Pretty much, I feel like the best role play to happen is when you can be with someone who can be yourself. Not because you're being perfect, but because you can be yourself in whatever versions you come with. Because I believe human beings are not just one version. Human beings are several versions put together. When they're angry, they're different. When they're happy, they're different. When, like for us, people in these feminine bodies and female bodies, when you're on your period, you're different. When you're sick, you're different. Like there's many times that a different you shows up. And the best kind of role playing is being with people or being in relationship where you can be all that and not feel like you're being too much or you're being too little, or you're scared someone will leave when they realize you're all those things and all that kind of stuff, and vice versa, your partner also being able to be that. I don't know if it's because I'm a water sign. I don't know if it's because I'm just generally a very emotional person. I don't know if I'm generally the kind of person who is interested in people and wants to know about people, wants to learn about people. But I'm also a big believer of the only person who knows how they can be loved is myself. And if I'm in a relationship with someone, they're the only ones who know how they can be loved. Now, when we can create room for people to be authentically themselves, that creates an opportunity for me to be able to learn more about that person. In the process, I get to learn how they want to experience love. In the process, I get to now learn how to task myself to love them. Love is work. Relationships are work. And so it's not work that can be done in silence, in a vacuum. You have to be able to speak, you have to be able to have conversation, you have to be able to be vulnerable, you have to say when things piss you off. It's okay to be a person who responds to their anger, but how you respond is important. You have to be a person who is okay to communicate and say, when I'm angry, I do A, B, C, D. And so when I'm angry, I would always suggest that you let me cool down first, you let me deal with what I'm dealing with first, because after I'm done with dealing with all these things, then I can easily say, let's sit and have a conversation. That way I'm able to understand you. Like I said, human beings come with different roles. And already a lot of people, we struggle with exercising all those different roles. So when it comes to role playing is awesome, because like I said, you get to pretend. For a moment you're a nurse, for a moment you're a cop, for a moment you're you're a corpse or something. You can pretend to be anything. But while you're pretending to be, or while you're acting a role of being all those things, but the one role you can't fully fit in is the role of being yourself, whatever that looks like, then I feel like role plays don't matter. Please comment down below and tell me what you think about that. But those are some of the questions that I got, and I think some of the things that I can say as an update. Like I said, it's been a year since I was on YouTube, and so one of the first updates is that, for those who don't know, on May 1st, 2021, I got diagnosed with PCOS and endometriosis. So a lot has been happening with regards to that. I have been unwell. Some days are really bad. I'm really sick. I can't even do anything. Some days I'm okay. Between yesterday and Tuesday and yesterday, I was overwhelmed because I was planning a match. I was doing, like, it has taken really a toll on me. I'm only now beginning to calm down a bit because the day has been quite hectic for me. And so, yeah, to just say, it has been quite a hectic year. 2021 has been a hectic year. while I can account for the first 4 months of not being on YouTube, because I mean everything, the remaining month, 8 months, I couldn't do much. Even if I had all the resources I needed to be on YouTube, I still probably wouldn't be able to, unless to maybe bring you along the journey of treatment and all that. And maybe comment down below if you feel like you need me to take you through the journey of everything that I like, from diagnosis to dealing with everything that I'm dealing with, how it has been like for me. I can do, it will be a story time pretty much, and maybe sharing details here and there about everything, if you feel like that's something you want to see, especially in relation to queer people, because I feel like when we are speaking about reproductive health and conditions that affect our reproductive system, when it comes to queer people, there is some sort of, you know, being sidelined by those topics and everything. And so if that's something you'd want me to speak about, please comment down below. Let me know if that's something you'd want me to speak about, and then I'll make a video about it. But yeah, that has been happening. What's the other thing that has been happening? Oh, last year, January 8th, 7th or 8th, I cut my hair. Then in May I went bald, and in June again I went bald again, and then I think my hair started growing officially in July, and since July I've not cut it again. I now have done my first set of braids, which you can see, and it's growing really quickly, so I'm excited about that. The goal is to go back to locks, but this time I'll do them like, not necessarily differently, because I'll do them from scratch, but I'll be doing my hair a lot more, so that like most of the time I'll be having braids until by the time finally I remove braids, maybe 6 to 8 months in, I'll already have locks in. But yeah, those are all the updates that I have. Thank you so much for joining. Again, if you're new, remember to subscribe to my channel. A lot of good things are coming. I have a giveaway that is coming up. I'll talk about it a bit later, probably in February. But for now, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend, share this video, and see you in the next video. I love you. Bye.